On May 8, 1945, Germany's surrender marked the official end of World War II in Europe. The oppressive Nazi regime had fallen, and peace seemed within reach for a continent ravaged by war. Yet, the story was far from over. The Nazis' infamous leaders left behind a complex legacy, one embodied not only in the scars of history but also in their children. These children would live under the shadow of their parents' actions, navigating a world eager to move on from the horrors of the past. This video delves into their lives post-World War II, as they grappled with unimaginable histories and struggled to find their own paths. Their lives offer unique, personal perspectives on how the legacy of Nazi Germany persisted even after its official collapse. The Goebbels family tragedy. The story of Joseph Goebbels' children remains one of the most tragic and chilling examples of the Nazi legacy. As Hitler's propaganda minister, Goebbels was instrumental in constructing the Nazi message that brainwashed a nation. Born in 1897, Goebbels climbed through the Nazi ranks to become one of Hitler's most trusted confidants, leading Berlin's district before becoming the Minister for Public Enlightenment and Propaganda in 1933. From this position, he masterminded a vast network of radio broadcasts, film productions, and public spectacles designed to fuel Nazi ideology, inflaming anti-Semitic sentiments and promoting German nationalism. Throughout his career, Goebbels remained unflinchingly loyal to Hitler. Even as the war turned against Germany, he stayed by the dictator's side, refusing to abandon the doomed Nazi vision. When Soviet forces advanced on Berlin in April 1945, Goebbels and his family withdrew to Hitler's bunker. Despite the inescapable danger, Goebbels' loyalty was so intense that he chose a tragic fate for himself and his 6 children. With cyanide capsules, Goebbels and his wife, Magda, took the lives of their young children before ending their own lives. Reports vary on the specifics, but most accounts agree that he offered each of his children a cyanide pill, sealing their fates. This act was a shocking end to a family entangled with one of the darkest periods in history, and none of the Goebbels children would live to see a liberated Germany. Gudrun Himmler. Gudrun Himmler, the only daughter of Heinrich Himmler, provides a haunting example of unrelenting loyalty. Born on August 8, 1929, Gudrun was adored by her father, who was one of the architects of the Holocaust. Himmler, the head of the SS and one of Hitler's closest associates, played a pivotal role in carrying out Nazi policies, including the final solution. Known as the second most powerful man in Nazi Germany, Himmler took special care of his relationship with Gudrun, affectionately calling her "puppy." He made sure she felt close to him despite the distance, arranging flights from her home in Munich to his office in Berlin and maintaining daily phone calls whenever they were apart. She was a familiar face at various Nazi events, standing by her father at official functions and receiving the admiration of those around her. Captured with her mother by Allied forces after the war, Gudrun was held in a series of detainment camps across Italy, France, and Germany. Eventually, she was summoned to the Nuremberg trials, where she testified about her father before being released in 1946. Despite the overwhelming evidence of her father's crimes, Gudrun defended him throughout her life, even disputing his suicide, claiming he was murdered. Gudrun went on to dedicate her life to preserving her father's reputation, joining a covert organization called Still Hilfe or Silent Aid, which provided support to imprisoned or fugitive former SS members. Her unwavering dedication was a testament to the influence Himmler had on her, showcasing the complex psychology of loyalty that transcended even the darkest legacies. Edda Göring. Edda Göring, daughter of Hermann Göring, spent her early years as a symbol of Nazi prosperity, living a life steeped in luxury and notoriety. Born just before the outbreak of World War II, Edda was raised in opulence on the Göring family estate, often photographed alongside her mother, Emmy Sonnemann, and father at grand Nazi events. Hermann Göring, Hitler's second-in-command, used his daughter as a symbol of Nazi Germany's ideal family life, and she was showered with expensive gifts, including historic artworks like Lucas Cranach the Elder's painting Madonna and Child. As the war neared its end, Göring moved his family to a secluded mountain residence near Berchtesgaden, hoping to shield them from the fallout of Germany's defeat. However, the end of the war marked a grim change in Edda's life. Her father, sentenced to death at the Nuremberg trials for war crimes, committed suicide, leaving Edda and her mother to navigate the stigma of his crimes alone. Edda lived in relative isolation, rarely discussing her father, though she reportedly maintained that he was a good man. During the 1950s and 60s, her childhood gifts became the subject of numerous legal battles, and she lost several cases, including the one for the Madonna and child. Edda broke her silence in a 1986 Swedish interview, expressing affection for her parents but avoiding any discussion of their political actions. She died in 2018, her life forever marked by her father's infamous legacy. Martin Bormann Jr. Martin Bormann Jr., the eldest son of Hitler's private secretary, had a deeply conflicted relationship with his father's legacy. Born on April 14, 1930, young Martin lived in a sheltered world, largely unaware of the Nazi atrocities unfolding outside. His father, one of Hitler's closest advisors and head of the Nazi Party Chancellery, remained distant but influential, leaving young Martin with mixed emotions about their relationship. After the war, Bormann Jr. was confronted with the horrifying reality of his father's role in the Third Reich, sending him on a lifelong journey to confront his heritage and seek redemption. Rejecting his father's ideology, Bormann Jr. converted to Catholicism and sought solace through missionary work in Africa, spending years in Congo and Cameroon. However, his path to peace was complicated. In 2011, Bormann was accused of abusive behavior by a former student from the 1960s, who claimed he had been subjected to physical violence. Though no legal action was pursued, the Austrian Church awarded compensation to the accuser. At the time, Bormann was battling dementia, leaving the accusations unresolved and casting a shadow over his life's efforts at atonement. Niklas Frank. Niklas Frank's story is one of bold confrontation with a dark family legacy. Born in 1939 to Hans Frank, known as the Butcher of Poland for his brutal governance in Nazi-occupied Poland, Niklas was shielded from the atrocities during his childhood. However, as he grew older, he discovered the horrifying details of his father's crimes and chose a path unlike many of his contemporaries. He openly denounced his father and the Nazi regime. Rather than burying the shame of his father's actions, Niklas actively discussed them, writing books such as In the Shadow of the Reich to grapple with his family's dark past. Through his candid accounts, Niklas became an advocate for Holocaust education, striving to highlight the dangers of hatred and unchecked power. His public discussions and writings provide a unique perspective on the long-lasting trauma of the Holocaust, both for its victims and for the families of its perpetrators. Niklas' willingness to confront his father's crimes head-on, even rejecting any sympathy for him, has made him a prominent voice for the lessons history must never forget. His dedication to truth and remembrance serves as a powerful counterpoint to those who seek to forget or minimize the impact of their family's actions. The children of Nazi leaders faced lifelong struggles with a legacy that defined them before they even had a chance to decide for themselves. While some, like Gudrun Himmler, remained devoted to their parents' ideologies, others, like Niklas Frank, dedicated their lives to actively renouncing them. Each of their stories reflects the complex, painful legacy of a dark period in history and highlights the human side of enduring guilt, loyalty, and the search for identity in the shadow of infamy. As we remember these stories, we are reminded of the profound weight family legacies can